Safe in Google Meet. Sorry, go ahead.
Thanks, Kara. So for first grade, the course teaches students to identify and write all letters, produce letter sounds, and working with phonograms. Students will also master weekly sight words and work on reading and comprehension strategies. In second grade, students work to spell and write vocabulary, read more fluently, and apply grammar. They participate in handwriting and writing activities through thematic units. So each week there's a new theme that students work through. And they also continue to master sight words and reading comprehension strategies as well. For math in first grade, in the first semester right now, students work on building fluency with basic math facts. So they learn how to count to 100, basic addition, subtraction facts, and how to add double-digit numbers. They will be introduced to concepts such as word problems, Venn diagrams, and geometry. There is an emphasis on skills such as reading thermometers, maps, values of coins, and students have opportunities to practice these skills through different problems online in Accelerate. In second grade, the first semester students build fluency with basic math facts. They add and subtract within 100 to solve word problems using strategies. They also manipulate numbers to 1,000. And share that knowledge of hundreds, tens, and ones. And then they also start to build the basic foundation for multiplication with repeated addition. In science, for first grade, students complete projects that are designed to allow for exploration and discovery. Students observe their surroundings and make observations through their natural world. In second grade, the science focuses on observation, and students learn how to identify their senses and use them to make observations. And then they also learn about different types of animals in their environment and plants. Students learn through different modes such as video, audio stories, and hands-on participation with nature. For social studies in first grade, students explore basic fundamentals of social studies, map fields, cardinal directions. They examine maps of the U.S. and the globe, and then they are introduced to important figures from American history. In second grade, students explore culture, geography, and economics. And they explore culture through ancient folk tales and fables. So reading is weaved into science and social studies as well. And they also examine geography and direction. They use world maps, develop an understanding of map symbols when they locate continents, the equator, oceans, and other things. They also learn about landforms, where they live. So that was just a basic overview of the content. Kara, was there anything specific that you wanted me to share other than what I...
No, thank you. So that was perfect. And then after Mrs. DeRogie goes, we will we'll use the remaining time for questions. Oops. Okay, so this is our DK teacher, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Thanks, Kara. Hi, everyone. My name is Ms. DeRogie. I am the DK kindergarten teacher for the VA. And I also have a quick presentation. I will speak to each slide a little bit as we go. And then if there's enough time, I could sneak into my Canvas account and show you briefly what some of the modules look like, just so you have an idea of kind of what the format is, because it's a bit more self-paced than I think you may be used to in the remote. So I just want to make sure that all of the parents are aware of the differences between VA and remote learning. So first, I'm going to present to you a look at, all right, so just some quick things to talk about. Attendance is taken at each live meeting, and this is considered a touch point. So we meet once a week. I meet with my DK kids on Tuesday and my kindergarten kids on Thursday. Those live meetings are specific for a lot of socio-emotional learning and support. So I run them a lot like morning meetings where I might share a read aloud and then offer a game. So it's less content driven and more making connections with our families and connections with our students and helping students connect to one another. So the attendance at those meetings is not required. It is, of course, something that we want you to be there for, but we do record the meetings and send them out to families that cannot make it during the VA. I do have students that, you know, are with someone that does not have access to a computer or different situations, and so it is not required, but we'd love to see you. But I do record all meetings so that you can still participate in those activities. Because you're not required to be in attendance, we still need to have 2 touch points. So those touch points could include a class dojo message from me. All of my kids have student portfolios there where they can create videos, drawings, add to photos, emails that we respond back to, feedback about the submissions you've made in the Canvas or Accelerate program are considered a touch point, and then sending the recording of our meeting and asking students to respond is also a touch point. So we are required to do 2 of those every week. Now, of course, I have lots of communication with my parents, so there's usually many more than 2. But of course, if you're traveling along through these modules and you don't have too many issues, I sometimes just have 2. Let's look at a daily schedules, because daily schedules vary in the VA. There's not like an absolute start time at 8:30 and an end time at 2:30. The schedules are then very flexible for families. So that's what it's meant for. So you could work, I have students that work on assignments only on the weekends. I have some that spend all day Monday doing math for the week, all day Tuesday doing science for the week, all day Wednesday doing social studies for the week. That's called chunking. Or I have ones that like a lot of structure and they do Monday morning math, Tuesday afternoon social studies, Tuesday, Thursday, ELA in the afternoons, and math in the mornings. So it's all designed around what is going to work for your family, because of course, some parents are still working and trying to negotiate their own schedules. So it's designed to be flexible. That means that there's no, also that there's no exact due date for things. We do have an outline for when things are due, but there's some flexibility in that also. So each language arts module is supposed to take 1 to 2 weeks according to your family's needs. I have some families that do 1 module every week no matter what, for math, language arts, and social studies. And then I have some that the content is a little bit heavier for their family or a little bit more time consuming for their family. And they take a little bit longer. They can take up to 2 weeks per module for language arts, math, and social studies. Science is a little bit different because there are only 6 modules and it's broken down into modules, but also lessons. So that's more of a 1 lesson per week, because that speaks to, as Kristen was saying, that they're doing a lot of exploration and observing through science. So, you know, they're kind of sent to take in the world around them, if you will. So those are a little bit more involved, and there's a little bit more flexibility with that time schedule also. So I just wanted to be kind of clear about these things because they are definitely different from remote learning to VA. Your schedule is more flexible. Your time each day is by your design. And then, of course, except for the live meetings and how we count that as attendance. And like I said, those aren't really content. Now, I do offer, speaking to attendance in our live meetings, I do offer 30 minutes prior to my DK meeting and 30 minutes after my kindergarten meeting to, it's just an open Google Meet forum where I have students log on if they need extra help in something. I have parents that log on and say, you know, what, we've noticed this or we're struggling with that. So it's just a time where I can meet and talk with people about what their experiences are, or if they just want to make a connection. You know, I love seeing the kids. So while I still have a minute, the grading policy is here, but it's just something that I think most of you will be fairly familiar with, that we have 4 marking periods. You guys would join after this first marking period, and that we still have assessments. We still complete the assessments online, so that would still be done. But I did want to show you right fast what it might look like. So for instance, if I signed into every single DK or K group has a homeroom that they can sign into. And the homeroom just has a couple of resources, maybe. Oh, there we go. So I can click on student view, and students, this is what the student would actually see. So I have a permanent link to our DK meeting here, a permanent link to our kindergarten meeting here, so we can always log in and get to our meetings. And then some student resources and some parent resources. This gets used primarily for our meetings. And then anytime students want some extra practice or something like that, or parents are specifically looking to contact technology or to contact me directly. Gotta leave student view. I do apologize. The next part I want to show you is at least one of the modules and what it looks like. So I'll pick kindergarten language arts, and we'll go into student view of that also. I'll give it a minute to load. Sometimes it gets funny on me. And that way you can see kind of how this is designed. So when this is designed, this would be a module. And each of these links is a lesson. So your child would be clicking on that, and they would be, this is what they would see. This is one of the first modules my students completed. It is easy to navigate. So it will read to them if they would like it to read to them. There's that option there, or they can pick a spot and it'll read to them. They can pause it, they can stop it. And then we have some dictionaries and picture dictionaries to help them out with any of the words that are not clear. There's usually a video or two attached to every single module to help students be engaged with phonemic awareness. So that would be making sure that they understood and did in developmental kindergarten and kindergarten that letters have sounds, and that's kind of the foundation for phonics, which is then associating the symbol with the sound. So that is all integrated in our ELA. So writing, reading, phonics are all part of our ELA modules. It's easy to navigate. So this talks about their sight words. They can click through each part. Again, this is them clicking. It'll tell them to click on the apple to hear what the letter sound says. There's also a table of contents where if you stop at a certain part and want to come back, you can. And there is a learning coach opportunity. So this is you as parents or adults that are with students are considered learning coaches. And this kind of gives a guide on what you would be talking to them about, what materials might be needed, and what questions you might ask. And then I also wanted to just make sure you understood the way that this is designed for one other subject. Let's look at science just because. So the other ones are designed for one module a week. So each week you would complete one module. So that was like one lesson, and then there are several lessons within the module. In science, you can see that there's a link and a turn in. A paper and pencil means you're turning something in, an assignment that can be submitted. So I just want to briefly show you that. You'll always get an opportunity to click on the assignment. So if you join the VA, there is a workbook that comes with that, and it'll be printed off. And all of the places that you would download, it would be here. And you could print those off, and then you would either take a picture of the assignment or scan the assignment in order to submit it. So then you could click submit assignment, and it would give you an opportunity to upload the file. So I feel like, and I'll stop sharing and come back to the meeting. In the spirit of being transparent, how we turn things in is, there is some work required. It's not just something that gets turned in. It does have to be photographed, or it does have to be scanned and then uploaded to a Chromebook or a computer in order to be submitted to us for each part that your child turns in. So Kara, anything that I'm missing there on that end that you want me to speak to? I did want to mention, I know one of the things that has come up is Accelerate Adaptive. Accelerate is not adaptive. It is a curriculum that we follow, kind of like the curriculum that your child would get in face-to-face. So it's a set curriculum, and then they have us as mentor teachers that would work with you to either differentiate the curriculum that you're provided or to give you a challenge. So that is something that I wanted to kind of make clear, is that it is not adaptive. Sometimes like Pathways or things like that are adaptive, but this is not. It works with the mentor teacher. I saw a question come up right up about an app for uploading. I did have some parents reach out to Canvas Accelerate about using the app, and there's no app at this time that we have where you could just upload. But if you did something like Genius Scan, you might be able to upload. That's what I do for my own son, who is also in a VA in Oxford, and I Genius Scan all of his things and then send them that way. So just a tip. if you decide to join.
Heather, I just wanted to add to what you said that the direct teaching is embedded in each lesson.
Yes. Yep, it's not us directly teaching for even that 30 minutes. That's a connection time where we are teaching, but we're making connections through socio-emotional learning. The direct teaching for content comes directly out of Accelerate. Thanks, Kristen, for making sure we made that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, ladies. Very comprehensive. So we can quickly address some of the questions in the chat. Does the VA give the students Chromebook? Can we use the ones that their homeschool gave them? I believe so. If you have a Chromebook, it will just be, their name would just be put on a different list. And if you need one, I believe they will certainly be made available. Yes, you can still use Pathblazers, Epic, and Freckle. I don't know if the teachers have rolled those out yet. Some may, no, okay, but they will be available. Second marking period is the goal for that, but you could,
Carol,
yes.
sorry to interrupt. I saw
No problem.
a question pop up asking to see a VA for second grade a lesson. I wanted to show that, and just before I go, can I do that
Yeah,
real quick?
please.
Okay, thanks.
That's great.
This is a first grade one, so let me just switch it to a second. Okay, so this is a second grade reading module. So when you access your courses, you'll see all of the modules. And then this is the first one that students completed. So it's called Your Family. And then you click on the first lesson. And it's similar for all the grades, the format. So there's an introduction, table of contents, learning coach, information, and then things that you listen to and read, and then click along using these yellow arrows. And there's different things embedded in the lesson that you have to do. Questions and answers. So spelling.
That's a second grade lesson?
Yes. And then there are the sheets to download in the lesson. So when you click on these, this shows you what your child needs to complete. So you can either print it at home on your own, or we also provided copies to families. And then you'll just continue through the lesson. And then once you finish the lesson, it will move on to the next one. So this is the very first one. So, you know, very beginning of the year, students entering second grade.
So then quick question, if I'm understanding correctly then. So the curriculum is kind of set out the way that it is. And if you like, you know, in normal remote learning or in person, there's different, they kind of place children in like the levels that they are. If they're high, medium, low, this curriculum doesn't adjust for that, or?
Correct. It's not computer adaptive, which would mean you answer several things correctly, it gives you something harder. You answer several things incorrectly, it eases back. It's not computer adaptive.
But can the teacher then assign harder lessons or easier lessons if we're
So
finding
that's where you
after a
would
few
make
weeks?
an appointment to talk with your teacher and decide what your options are depending on what area you would need differentiation. You might use some of these supplemental programs. They might be able to re-explain a concept in a different way.
I'm wondering if either of the teachers have any, I won't call them case studies, but examples of how maybe that's happened in the last month, whether it's getting harder or getting easier and how that's been handled.
Do you mean the differentiation?
Yes.
Okay, so an example would be I have a student, she is not as far in her knowledge of sounds. So if I've offered to meet and met with her prior or outside of my office hours, just in quick 15 minutes because she's DK, and that's an appropriate amount of time for her. And we do activities together. And then I can send a list of things to the parent as a learning coach to also do. So we do have resources, as Kara was talking about, that are outside. These are all things that are interactive with on the computer, and the limitations are on the computer because we're not really sending things home to you. I'm not sending you workbooks or things like that. So I can do something live. I can send digital resources, but then it's kind of up to the family on how they decide to use that differentiation. So it wouldn't be me meeting daily necessarily with your child, but if there was a time during the week outside of our live meeting, then I would have that. Same thing with challenging your child. I have a child who's working on a project study. These things are done in themes, but I have one student who she's, we'll just say ahead. She has the ability to kind of work ahead. So I have her, I talked to her interests, I talked to her parents, and she's working on a project instead of, and that's something that I sent them templates around and I sent them ideas for, but it's again something that her family is kind of carrying out with her. And that's something that I'm facilitating because again, most of our facilitation comes directly from the curriculum and not necessarily directly from me. So I can supply ideas. I can even give you resources that are online, but then what happens moving forward is kind of up to the learning coach.
Okay, that's an awesome answer. Thank you so much.
And just to clarify what you are saying then, so the projects for maybe an accelerated child, those would be on top of just the normal modules they would be doing. So really they're not being accelerated in the learning. They're just doing things outside to accelerate. They're still following that normal path.
Correct.
I only say that because just when you guys were showing sight word for second grade, about 4 of those sight words were in a kindergarten class for the last 3 weeks. So that's why I was kind of questioning it, right?
I would say that from DKK, my content, like I said, has been that half my families are kind of struggling to keep up at the pace that they need. So most of my families are very happy with the curriculum they have for DKK. I do have just a couple of kiddos that are either behind that I'm working with or working ahead. And like you said, they are still completing what is there, but they have, their parents have time or have them work on things that are outside of that area. So yes, correct.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And I guess it was more from a perspective of, if they're in remote right now and they switch to the VA and then, something kind of happens and it's more safe and the third card marking to move back into the classroom, then where are they going to fall? Like, are they doing differently inside the building versus in virtual? And then where is that child going to end up, right?
My best answer to that is if you were to move back to a face-to-face after being with the VA, I believe that the teacher in the classroom would treat it just like having your child move back in, or we have move-ins all of the time as classroom teachers. So what they would probably do, or I would do if your child moved back face-to-face with me, is give a couple of quick assessments to figure out where they are. And then I'm still going to kind of put them where they need to be face-to-face or what groups they need to be in order to meet their needs. So I think that, teachers kind of have that all of the time, regardless of kind of VA face-to-face transition. We're dealing with move-ins and students who are just moving into the area. And we would similarly respond to your child moving back into the classroom.
So, thank you. And if you, Mrs. Droege, if you need to go, please do. I'll stay on a short while longer and I can buzz through several of these questions pretty quickly. And if you, yes, thank you. So one of the repeated questions is about student-teacher ratio. And right now, presently, each teacher has 2 grades with an average of 40 students for those 2 grades. So in their class meetings or in their live, class meeting sessions, it's about 20-ish students. And again, so if you were with me yesterday, I said, please don't picture, when I say 40 students, a teacher with 40 students in a classroom. That's not what's happening because they're not delivering curriculum and they have 20 per grade. Obviously, with the new renewed interest in VA, the district needs to look at staffing. So that's why they have asked for the Friday deadline, which in the last meeting I learned some other buildings have been told it's been extended into next week, which I'm working on that. Trying to get that exact date. But once we know the number of families that are committing to this, then they'll have to make staffing decisions, is the answer that I have for you. I will ask the VA teachers to share their slides. And I am not, so I use Zoom because I work with adults. I'm not familiar with Google Meet, but something called a Jamboard came up and it looks like, maybe you use this with your kids if someone can answer. It looks like you will be sent that Jamboard as a participant of this if you shared your email. So all of the documents that I shared in the chat should be on there. So I will ask for the teacher's slides and I will add them to that. Red flagged for, so if there was a student that was struggling in some area, the testing that was just done in the last couple weeks, NWEA and potentially some digging deeper tasks for other students. So the RTI coordinators at every building, we are right now working on compiling all that data, and every grade level teacher will review it with an administrator and a coordinator like myself, and students that are that come through as needing some extra attention or support will be discussed and decided. And that happens for all Royal Oak students, no matter which program they're in. And those are happening the next 3 Fridays. So when we're in PD on Fridays, those are the things that we're doing. And the VA students will be decided what their intervention will be, just like any remote students or hybrid students as well. The printouts, if your family would like printouts, yes. So they are available during the regular Friday pickup time when we have some notice to do that. Let's see. Could you skip a grade or move on to the next grade if the content is too easy? I would refer you to your building administrator for that. So just like if you were in person or even remote and requested that, that would be a building administrator conversation to start with. Is DK curriculum different from kindergarten curriculum? Oh, and Heather, I don't believe so. Let me get back with you on that one.
I'm just asking because my daughter did DK last year, so I don't know. I mean, I don't want her to sit in this kinder VA program and just be repeating what she's already done. That's why I was wondering.
Yes. And whomever's talking, if you want to email me that question or anyone else that affects, I will try to get an answer. I can probably get an answer that pretty quickly and email you that, because I know that's a big factor in your decision.
Thank you.
Yes. Cost excessive amounts to the district. Will they change their mind? I am not able to answer anything about the district changing their mind about anything. Literally, I have no idea. Um, oh, if they already have access to those programs that we mentioned, do they have the same login? You can try it. It wouldn't hurt to try it. It's not going to do anything. I believe for our remote students, it was the same as the spring. But because I'm not directly in the classroom right now, I don't know. But you're welcome to try it if you have those logins. And if there's interest in those before the fourth marking period, I will see about if we can provide access to those programs. Is there a cap for student-teacher ratio? Not that I'm aware of. So in our Royal Oak teacher contract, there's not language about a setting like this.
Kara, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you skipped my question. I was just wondering what the chat, what the average screen time is for a kindergarten, at least. Like when they're doing their learning modules, how long are they really on the computer?
So all I could answer to that is what's in the chart that was shared yesterday. That's in the overview, which is like language arts is 30 to 40 minutes. And so if you were thinking total, so the beauty of virtual is you could decide how much time you wanted in each subject area or per day. But in terms of the total expected time, it aligned with what was put out by the district for, I believe it's less than, I don't want to say it incorrectly. Let me ask, I can ask the teachers about that.
Okay, it just, if you go by the numbers in the presentation, I feel like it was 3+ hours, and that's for a kindergartner, that's a lot of time on the screen. That's why I'm asking.
Per day.
Yeah, so no matter how you break it up, if you took that number, that's an incredible amount of time to be on the computer.
Right. Yes, I will look into that as well.
Thank you.
Mhm. Oh, people are saying they've heard an average of 2.5 to 3 hours per day. Oh, Pathfinder been working for someone. Oh, okay. So if a student needs reading support, they are the data that they've been doing the testing in the last couple weeks is being reviewed in grade levels teams over the next 3 Fridays. That's teacher PD. And students will be identified that may need some additional support, and it will be discussed at these meetings what we will do with our VA students to support them. Okay, so I hope that says the Jamboard would be shared with you if you shared your email when you signed in. If not, I'll give everyone a minute to grab some things from the chat. Or again, I don't know how to save this chat. Where will the answers to the, so I have asked for it. So something came up yesterday about it being posted in 2 places, right on the home landing page, as well as the VA drop down. I've asked for it to be posted in both. That's all the power that I have. And I will today, once I redo this, I will, or once I upload the recordings, I will ask the same if it can be, which I did notice this morning, these links were on the homepage as well as the VA page. So I think that's a good sign. Yes, I will share the Jamboard again. Students are starting fresh. Not fresh, they're starting fresh for second marking period. So it's not like you are having to make up anything prior, which would be the same if a student went from VA to remote. You just start as if, there's my email. Let me get the Jamboard. Okay, I am not at all familiar with Jamboard, so this was my trial run. But again, things are up further in the chat if you want to grab them, or yesterday someone was able to direct me how to save the Zoom chat. Does anyone know how to save a Google Meet chat? Wants to chime in? Okay. Again, thank you for being parents are so supportive in this district, very mindful of teachers, and that's very much appreciated. Like just the jumping from the Zoom to the Google Meet, and I consider myself pretty not savvy, but pretty okay. And it's just, I miss people and I miss our families. So know that we all feel that way. And I feel like I'm sitting here talking to myself. So thank you for your thoughtful questions and your patience with technology issues. And even if you don't have Keller kids, give them a hug from Miss Daunt, please. Okay, I'm going to end the meeting. Thank you. Oh, hi, go to Clee Clark's.